Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Boone here from EWPRO. So looking at DXY on the daily, we got that WXY. There is a chance that we go up and break that top for a bull hidden. Can't really go into that scenario here. But all I'm really looking for, if this looks corrective in here, we'll be looking for downside on the daily. On the H4, it's just one wave on the H4, but if we go down to the H1, you know, this was your trade in here to trade this wave Y. We got high correction, looking for that buy. It's just about up to that 100 fib. So now we're getting all that bearish divergence. So, I mean, if you're trading flags, you're just scalping to the upside. I would like to see, you know, an A, B, C in here, and then you could look for a buy, or it comes down, breaks that low, and gives you a sell setup. Then you could look for the sell. So it's really a waiting game now, and maybe for a little while, because this may just keep on crawling up here. AU on the daily. So we broke this top here. So I'm just looking for a 3 down, and then I'll be looking for like an A, B, C. Remember at the top here, we're looking for that 50 fib retrace on the daily. So this orange daily here, it's nearly down to that in the one wave. So it may be a very deep correction. H4, we just got 3 down, and we're getting that bullish divergence. And on the H1, we're getting those 5 down. So if you wanted to trade this, you could look for the WXY. You'd be looking for an X2, a similar size correction as that over here, and then you could look for that wave Z down. We're down to that 123.6. We're right on that now. This still can come down to this 161.8 or possibly even lower. But the safest way is to wait for the correction and then look for that wave Z down. EU on the daily. All these majors pretty much have this possible bear hidden where we can go down and break the low. But we're just looking to see what happens in here. If this looks corrective, we'll look for upside, you know, because we have that high here. H4, we got the 5 up. Got that 5 up, and we're just getting 1 down. This is just one wave here. So really, you're looking for a H4 correction, and then you could look for the downside, even if it's just for an A, B, C. On the H1, we're getting this motive structure in here at WX. We're in that wave Y again, like AU. Wait for the correction, and then you can look for that wave Z down. GU. So this one here, this wave in here, we lost all that bullish divergence. So I was just looking for a correction in here and then go and break the low again. Instead, it's given us that high, like I've mentioned many times. So I was just looking for an A, B, C in here, and then more upside. On the H4, we're getting this like A, B. We'll be looking for this wave C down, possibly down to this 100 fib. And then we'll be looking for the buy. So on the H1, it's really just one wave in here. So wait for your correction, and then you can look for the sell. You have to wait, definitely have to wait for a nice correction on this. It's just about broken that low, and it's already broken this low over here. So you need a nice correction before you can start to look for the sell. NU on the daily, it's very similar to GU. We got that high. This one here, we did have the bullish divergence. We got an A. I'm looking at an A, B, C as an expanding flat, and then we get more upside. H4, it's just a one wave down. And on the H1, we're getting all this bullish divergence here now. We're getting a lot of bullish divergence, so very risky. This is looking like a bearish flag down here. If you're taking these flags, be very careful. And yeah, I would like to see, wherever this wave here ends, we get a nice impulse up, and then we get a nice correction, and then we look for the buy. For a longer term buy. GY, I was looking for a WXY, X2 and a Z down. This correction here is a lot larger than this one. So if it does go down and break that low, it's not going to be a wave Z. It'll just be some sort of an A, B, C. On the H4, it's already reached the target at 100 fib. Oh, well, that's the 161.8. Oh, sorry, the 100 fib here. Like for an A, B, C, we do have bearish divergence here, I believe. Yep, we got bearish divergence. So we're just really waiting for this to be over, and then we'll be looking for a sell. On the H1, we got that WXY, X2, Z up. This may be an extended wave like I've explained, and this may be the flat here for a WXY, X2, and then the Z up. These two corrections are of a similar size. This one is a little bit larger, but we can definitely look at it that way. So this one here, you could look for the buy here. You'd have to go down onto the lower time frames, but if you got a correction in here, you definitely could look for that wave Z up. You have to go down to the lower time frames, but yeah, I'd be looking for the buy. You can only sell under that low. Ideally, we get some sort of a correction in here back to the 50 fib of this, and then you look for that buy. UY on the daily. So again, like I've mentioned, this can be a bull hidden and go and break that top, but we've broken this low here, so we've got to see if this is corrective. If this is corrective in here, we'd definitely look for that sell. It's a waiting game. On the H4, we got that like WXY. We're in this wave Y. We're up to that 200 fib just about. So I'd be expecting an X2 and then a wave Z up. Safest way is to wait for that before you look for the buy. On the H1, are we getting well, overall we are getting bearish divergence, you know. But yeah, it's still looking very much bullish. For the sell, we really need a break below that for a sell setup to get into a wave C in the X2. But yeah, you know, if you're scalping up here, it becomes very dangerous. Better off to wait for this. If you're looking for the buy, you're better off to wait for a correction a similar size to this over here, and then we look for that buy. USD CAD. So nothing's changed on daily. We're looking for a correction a similar size to this over here, and then we'll be looking for that wave Z up. H4, we're looking at this like A, B, C. It's just about up to that 100 pip, and then we'll be looking for an A, B, C. On the H1, we are getting bearish divergence, so very risky to be buying up here. The problem with this here, we got it like WXY. We'll be looking for an X2 and then a wave Z up. This was very deep. This correction in here was very deep, but it did end up going. So I would have just been looking for an A, B, C, but it has kept on going. But yeah, again, the safest way is to wait for the X2, similar size correction as that over here, and then we'll be looking for that wave Z up. USD Swiss franc. This one here, we've ruled out the wave Z up. We've broken this low here over here, so definitely rule that wave Z up. But this still can be an A, B, C, and we do go up and break that top. It won't be for a wave Z, it'll be for some sort of a more complex correction. But I'm really just looking for a retracement in here. If this looks corrective in here, we'd definitely look for the sell. Back to the, we're looking for a correction back to the 50 fib of this move here. On the H4, and you can see what I'm looking at. We're looking at WXY, just about up to, oh no, that's a different fib, but we'll be looking for the end of wave Y, and then you'll be looking for the X2, and then you could trade that wave Z up. Again, the safest way is to wait for the correction and then look for the buy. On the H1, we still may get a wave Z up in this wave Y, H4 wave Y. So I'm looking at a WXY. We're just about up to that 161.8. I'll be looking for a correction, and then you could trade that wave Z up. That'll be finishing off the H4 wave Y, and then we'd be looking for a larger correction, a correction the same size as this one over here. EG on the daily. So I'm looking for more downside, looking for an A, B, C on the daily. H4, it's not really going to plan this wave in here. Have to be very careful. I'm sort of, why this trend line in here holds, I've probably got it drawn on the, no, I haven't got it on the M1 either. But if I go back to the H4, you can see in here, I'm sort of looking for some sort of a more of a correction than just this. So this can be an A, B, C, and then you get that A, B, C before you get A, B, C, before it goes from here. So this may turn, I'm sort of expecting this to turn more complex just because of the price action we're seeing. So yeah, it does look bearish in here. You know, if you do get a sell, you definitely could look for it. On the H1, there is no bullish divergence. So if you do get a sell set up in here, you'd have to go right down onto the lower time frames to get the sell. But yeah, I'm suspecting that this will turn more complex as an A, B, C, as some sort of running or expanding flat before we get the A, B, C. WTI on the daily. So this one hasn't really been playing nice. I was looking for a WXY, an A, B, C in here for the X2, and then we look for that wave Z down. Instead, we never got that wave up, so this is becoming quite difficult. We do have bullish divergence, so it does become risky to sell. But this in here is looking very corrective for more downside. So this may be an A, B, C, and then you get that A, B, C before we get more downside. May become more complex. H4 really, it's changed a little bit now because we got, I was just looking for an A, B, C. We've got a correction in here. So this here can become more complex as well. We can get sort of an A, B, C, definitely be looking for this C up in here. But then it may turn like an A, B, C, A, B, B, C, A, B, C, then an A, B, C, and become very complex. And that's the sort of, you know, this is very flat. So it's definitely looking corrective. But in here on the lower time frames, we can look for the buy. It was very difficult to get in. We were looking for that wave Z down on the H1, the WXY, X2, and we got that wave Z down. Problem here was we got an A, B, C as an expanding flat. This was very deep in here, but you can only look for the buy. It's broken this top here. So if you get any little bullish flag, you'd really want to go down onto the lower time frames, look for a correction on the lower time frames, and then you could look for the buy. Gold on the daily. So I'm just looking for a correction in here as like an A, B, and we'll get more upside. Really want to start to see a correction in here. H4, there's nothing. It's just the one wave still. On the H1, sort of looking at a possible structure in here as an A, B, C. But internally here, we got a WX. We're in a wave Y. So if you get an X2, you could look for the wave Z down. And then I'd be looking for, you know, a buy setup either down here on the lower time frames, or we get a impulse up breaking that top correction, and then you look for the upside. Silver should really note, go over W1 on silver. So we have a bear hidden here. So this can give us that wave Z down and go and break that low. on the daily, we still, this is looking very bearish. On the H4, there was that chance of a wave Z up. I'm pretty much ruling that out now because this correction here is becoming larger than this one here. So not really looking for that wave Z up now. And you can't really sell it either here. We're starting to get all that bullish divergence. So I'd be waiting for a correction on the H4 correction. And then look for the A, B, C. And it may turn motive on you and become a wave Y or wave 3. Bitcoin on the daily. This one here, you really have to be careful now if you're in the buys. There is a chance, like I said here, I'll have to do that on the lower time frames, but this may be an A, B, C in here for more A, B, C, for more downside. So if you are in the buy, you definitely want to be at break even. On the H4, we got the 5 up now. We're looking for those 5 up. So really, and we do have the bearish divergence as well. Any sell setup you get, I'd be looking for the sell. But on the H1, it's very hard because this was a WX, very deep X, and then we're getting a wave Y. You'd have to wait for a correction similar size as that over here, and then you could look for a Z down, and it may, take off on you. S&P 500 on the daily. So, we're looking at an A, B, C in here to finish off the B wave, and then we'll be looking for upside. H4, we are getting that wave C down. Looking at like an A, B, C after we got those 5 up. Ideally, it gets back to this 100 fib. The lower this goes, the better the buy will be. But we're just really waiting for a buy setup, a nice buy setup. On the H1, it's still a sell. You can only look for the sell at this stage. We're looking at a WX. We're in a wave Y. You look for the X2, and then you could look to sell that for the Z down. And then we'd be looking for, impulse up, correction, and more upside. But at this stage, we are getting bullish divergence. So, you can look to buy this, but you only be looking at it as an X2. Unless it went up and broke this top, well then, it invalidates that wave Z. AU200. This one gave us a 3 up. We had that nice higher high. We were looking for a 50 fib retrace. It bounced clean off that 50 fib, come up, and we're getting bearish divergence. This may give us a bull hidden in here, and it may be at like an A, B, C as a running or expanding flat, and we get more upside. I definitely can't rule that out. We never got anywhere near that 100 fib. On the H4, this is pretty much just one wave. Yeah, on the H1, we've got all this bullish divergence on the H1, so you can only buy this. You can only look for the buys, but for the buys, we need a nice impulse up, breaking that top, giving us a correction, and then we can look for the buy. The FTSE on the daily, We're right at the top here. Nothing's changed on the daily. We're just looking for an A, B, C. So we're looking for that A, B, C. We're looking for downside. We're right at the top. So any setup you get to sell, if you trade this instrument, you really want to look for this sell. We've got bearish divergence in here, an A, B, C. On the H1, we sort of got this like a WXY, X2 wave Z down. So we'll be looking for a larger correction and then more downside. This may take, all next week in a correction and then look for the downside. Because we're sort of looking for the 50 Fib retracement of this here. So, that wasn't a very straight line, but, we're looking for at least 3 up. So when we get this correction in here, you could look for the buy, and then just as a scalp, and then this is when we get this sell. This is the sell that we don't want to miss. You can miss this, like the buy. This may more than likely turn quite complex in here. May get a WXY, X2, a Z up. And then if we get a sell set up, we'll look for that sell, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. But at this stage, I'd be sort of, it is risky to buy because, when we're in a larger B wave, it can become very choppy. So whether you're just scalping the buy up to the 50 Fib, but it's the sell that you don't want to miss. The DAX. So this is very similar. We've got that A, B, C, and then we get that A, B, C. So we're looking for downside. We're at a top. This one here, it's not giving any sell setup. That's the problem. This here is still looking rather bullish. So it is quite difficult to sell this one. I'd be more interested in the AU 200 or the FTSE. They look a little bit better because this one's just going sideways here. We got that lower low here, so we're looking for the sell, but it's only just come down, broken the top. It's sort of giving a flat here. So if you're only looking for a flag in here. You don't want a correction. If you get a little flag in here, you'd probably have to go down to the lower time frames and look for a correction, and then you'd be looking for the downside. So I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, give it a thumbs up. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.